A very good morning to one and all. Share facts on drugs, save lives. Today, June 26th, the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking aims to strengthen action and cooperation in achieving the goal of a world free of drug abuse. A warm welcome to one and all. Myself, Alma Rose from third year BSc Botany, St. Thomas College Autonomous Thrissur. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to the inauguration of the activities of the Anti-Narcotic Cell for this academic year 2021-22. We have Sri KJ John, Drug Controller of Kerala Drugs Control Department, as our resource person to delivering the keynote address to mark the occasion of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Let's begin this program by seeking blessings from God Almighty. I invite Aditya Madhavan from third year Botany for the prayer.
स्नेहार्द्र संगीतमे देव स्नेहमे എന്നുമെന്നും നിൻ സ്നേഹം ചൊരിയണമേ സ്നേഹാർദ്ര സംഗീതമേ ആയിരമായിരം ജനങ്ങൾ തൻ വിശ്വാസദീപം തെളിച്ചിടണേ ആയിരമായിരം ജനങ്ങൾ തൻ വിശ്വാസദീപം തെളിച്ചിടണേ കരുണാക്കടലിന്റെ നടുവിലായെന്നും നീ എന്നെ നിർത്തിയിടണേ കരുണാക്കടലിന്റെ നടുവിലായെന്നും നീ എന്നെ നിർത്തിയിടണേ സ്നേഹനാഥായൻ സർവേശ്വര സ്നേഹാർദ്ര സംഗീതമേ ദൈവ സ്നേഹമേ എന്നുമെന്നും നിൻ സ്നേഹം ചൊരിയണമേ സ്നേഹാർദ്ര സംഗീതമേ.
Thank you, Aditya. And now I invite Dr. VIMALA Jose, the coordinator of Anti-Narcotic Cell of our college, for the welcome speech.
Good morning. Respected Father Martin K.A., Principal in charge of St.Thomas College, Thrissur, most esteemed resource person of this day, Sri KJ John Sir, Drugs Controller of Kerala, dear faculty members and students. Today, June 26, is the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. The Anti-Narcotic Cell of St. Thomas College, Thrissur, is organizing the online awareness program with this message: share facts on drugs, save lives. Drug addiction isn't just about the most discussed ganja or cannabis, LSD, heroin, and other illegal substances. You can also get addicted to illegally obtained narcotic pain medications, sleep medications, or anti-anxiety drugs. Youngsters get these medicines from medical shops with or without prescriptions and use it in order to relieve stress, avoid reality, or simply to feel good. But once addiction happens, you cannot escape even if you want to get out of it. And these chemical formulations leads to behavioral changes, memory problems, and psychological imbalances. This awareness program on drug abuse is presided over by Reverend Dr. Martin K.A., Principal in charge of St. Thomas College, Thrissur. I welcome you, Father, to this program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sri KJ John, the Drugs Controller of Kerala, is the resource person and keynote speaker of this day. I believe he is the most apt person for this day, and we are extremely privileged to have you here. I do realize that by sharing the real facts about drugs, from its health risk to its solutions, how to tackle it, he will enlighten our students. Sir, on behalf of this anti-narcotic cell of St. Thomas College, I welcome you to this platform. Next, I would like to welcome all the faculty members and students of St. Thomas College as well as from other institutes. Let us look forward for a narcotic-free generation to come. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I cordially invite our beloved principal in charge, Reverend Father Martin K.A. for presidential address.
A very warm good morning to one and all. Sri K.J. John, the resource person of the day, Drugs Controller of Kerala. Dr. VIMALA Jose, the coordinator of Anti-Narcotic Cell. Dear students, delegates, colleagues, 26th June 2021 is a day in which we especially remember the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Each and every human being, while he or she grows up, does have to find something very much important in his or her own life. Each one will be going after different interests. Very few, they are somehow or other is misled and they go after a wrong interest. A wrong interest that is called drugs. I think the resource person will enlighten us how, from his experience of being the drugs controller of Kerala, he will be in a better position to explain to us all the details or the facts on drugs. So people, in my opinion, it is that if the people get a right direction from the very beginning of their life or in their adolescence, time of adolescence, if they are given a right direction, they will be able to follow a good life. Very rarely, very few are somehow or other is misled or some are trapped from their schooling days onwards, maybe in their teenagers and all. So it happens. So today, our anti-narcotic cell has come forward to give a very good webinar on this topic with the right resource person. I hope that this seminar webinar will be a blessing for all of us, for the youngsters of Kerala. I give all the wishes, offering all my wishes to have a good time ahead, and congratulating the coordinator Dr. VIMALA Jose and team and other members of this anti-narcotic cell and all those who are participating in the webinar. Let me conclude. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Father. The theme of the day, share facts on drugs, save lives, emphasize the need how better knowledge will foster greater cooperation for the countering its impact on health, governance, and security. This day is dedicated to eradication of abuse of drugs and thereby neutralizing the systemic challenges associated with it. Now we are moving to the important part of this program. Let me introduce the resource person, Sri K.J. John, the drugs controller in Kerala Drugs Control Department, Thiruvananthapuram. He is most apt person for inaugurating the anti-narcotic cell of our college because of his vast experience in drug control department of Kerala. I invite Sri K.J. John for inauguration of anti-narcotic cell activities of our college for this academic year and to motivate our students about this special day.
The most respected Reverend Father Martin K.A., Principal of St. Thomas College, Dr. VIMALA, Coordinator of Anti-Narcotic Cell, and my dear students. Good morning, a very good morning. First of all, let me thank the management of St. Thomas College, Principal and the Coordinator for giving me this opportunity. So let me start on my topic. Adolescents and young adults in high school and colleges face many unique pressures and stresses in their life. Coupled with an underdeveloped frontal lobe, the region of the brain responsible for impulse control, decision making, and mood regulation, this particular age group may be prone to substance abuse. High school and college students may be more influenced by the social pressures and more likely to engage in risky behaviors. More likely to engage in risky behaviors than other age groups. By the time individuals reach the senior years of high school, 70% will have tried alcohol, 50% will have abused an illicit drug, 40% will have smoked a cigarette, and 20% will have used a prescription drug recreationally or for non-medical purpose. Young adults or teenagers may feel that alcohol or drugs or both may help them fit in socially. Substance abuse can reduce inhibitions and raise self-confidence levels temporarily. Drugs and alcohol can potentially numb or minimize difficult emotions for a short time and may provide a desired escape from reality. Some drugs, such as stimulants like amphetamines, may be used to boost energy and help individuals stay awake and focused, making them popular as study drugs, especially for college students trying to get ahead academically. Between 2008 and 2014, amphetamine usage among college students doubled from 5.7% to 10.1%. June 26 every year is celebrated as International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. It is an exercise undertaken by the world community to sensitize the people in general and the youth in particular to the menace of drugs. The picture is grim. If the world statistics on the drug scenario is taken into account, the turnover of around $500 billion is calculated. It is the third largest business in the world, next to petroleum and arms trade. About 190 million people all over the world consume one drug or the other. Drug addiction causes immense human distress, and illegal production and distribution of drugs have spawned crime and violence worldwide. Today, there is no part of the world that is free from the curse of drug trafficking and drug addiction. Millions of drug addicts all over the world are leading miserable lives between life and death. India, too, is caught in this vicious circle of drug abuse, and the numbers of drug addicts are increasing day by day. According to the UN report, 1 million heroin addicts are registered in India, and unofficially there are as many as 5 million. What started off as a casual use among minuscule population of high-income group youth in metros has permeated to all sections of the society. Inhalation of heroin alone has given way to intravenous drug use, that too in combination with other sedatives and painkillers. This has increased the intensity of the effect, hastened the process of addiction, and complicated the process of recovery. Cannabis, heroin, and Indian-produced pharmaceutical drugs are the most frequently abused drugs in India. Cannabis products, often called charas, bhang, or ganja, are abused throughout the country because it has attained some amount of religious sanctity. The International Narcotics Control Board, in its 2002 report released in Vienna, pointed out that in India, persons addicted to opiates are shifting their drug of choice from opium to heroin. The pharmaceutical products containing narcotic drugs are also increasingly being abused. The intravenous injections of analgesics like dextropropoxyphene are also reported from many states, as it is easily available at cheaper rates than heroin. The codeine-based cough syrups, commonly available in the medical shops, continue to be diverted from the domestic market for, again, abuse. Drug use, misuse, or abuse is also primarily due to the nature of the drug abused, the personality of the individual, and the addict's immediate environment. The process of industrialization, urbanization, and migration have led to loosening of traditional methods of social control, rendering an individual vulnerable to the stresses and strains of modern life. The fast-changing social milieu, among other factors, is mainly contributing to the proliferation of drug abuse, both of traditional and of new psychoactive substances. Drug abuse has led to a detrimental impact on the society. It has led to increase in the crime rate. Addicts resort to crime to pay for their drugs. Drugs remove inhibition and impair judgment, encouraging one to commit offenses. Incidences of eve teasing, group clashes, assault, and impulsive murders increase with drug abuse. Apart from affecting financial stability, addiction increases conflicts and causes untold emotional pain for every member of the family. With the most drug users being in the productive age group of 18 to 35 years, the loss in terms of human potential is incalculable. The damage to the physical, psychological, moral, and intellectual growth of the youth is very high. Adolescent drug abuse is one of the major areas of concern in adolescent and young people's behavior. It is estimated that in India, by the time most boys reach the 9th grade, about 50% of them have tried at least one of the getaway drugs. This is unbelievable. India has braced itself to face the menace of drug trafficking, both at the national and the international levels. Several measures involving innovative changes in enforcement, legal and judicial systems has been brought into effect. The introduction of death penalty for drug-related offence has been a major deterrent. The Narcotic, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985 was enacted with the stringent provisions to curb this menace. The Act envisages a minimum term of 10 years imprisonment, extendable to 20 years, and a fine of rupees 1 lakh, extendable up to rupees 12 lakhs for the offenders. The Act has been further amended by making provisions for the forfeiture of properties derived from illicit drug trafficking. The abuse of alcohol and drug has resulted in significant morbidity and mortality among the adolescents worldwide. Many of these youths will lose their lives to drugs and alcohol, and significant numbers are likely to grow up to become problematic drug users. Although the substance abuse problem is complex and large in magnitude, there is a substantial amount of evidence-based research available to physicians, community leaders, and schools and colleges like yours to implement interventions that can decrease adolescent substance abuse rates. Because this issue is not peculiar to any one community or culture, we recognize that individual interventions may not be universally effective. Therefore, we emphasize the strategy of targeting modifiable risk factors and enhancing protective factors through family, school, and community prevention programs. Now, let me go into some details which I think will definitely bring some light to all of you regarding this worldwide menace. So, what is drug addiction? Addiction is defined as a chronic relapsing disorder characterized by compulsive drug seeking, continued use despite harmful consequences, and long-lasting changes in the brain. It is considered both a complex brain disorder and a mental illness. Addiction is the most severe form of a full spectrum of substance use disorders and is a medical illness caused by repeated misuse of a substance or substances combined. Internationally, substance abuse and substance dependence has been combined together into a single category known as substance use disorder, with the 3 subclassifications: mild, moderate, and severe disorders. The symptoms associated with the substance use disorder fall into 4 major groupings: impaired control, social impairment, risky use, and the pharmacological criteria, that is tolerance and withdrawal. The pattern of use of an intoxicating substance leading to its clinically significant impairment or distress has 10 to 11 diagnostic criteria. Those who have two or three criteria are considered to have mild disorder. 4 or 5 is considered moderate, and 6 or more symptoms severe. The diagnostic criteria are as follows. The first one is the misused substance is often taken in large amounts or over a longer period than was intended. The second criteria is there is a persistent desire or unsuccessful effort to cut down or control use of the substance. The third criteria is the great deal of time is spent in activities necessary to obtain the drug or substance and use the substance or recover from its effects. The fourth criteria is craving or a strong desire or urge to use a substance occurs. The fifth one is recurrent use of the substance results in a failure to fulfill major role obligations at work, school, or home. The sixth one is use of the substance continues despite having persistent or recurrent social or interpersonal problems caused or exacerbated by the effects of its use. The seventh one is important social, occupational, or recreational activities are given up or reduced because of the use of the substance. The eighth one is use of the substance is recurrent in situations in which it is physically hazardous. Ninth, use of the substance is continued despite knowledge of having a persistent or recurrent physical or psychological problem that is likely to have been caused or exacerbated by the substance. The tenth one is a tolerance as defined by either of the following: a need to markedly increased amount of the substance to achieve intoxication of the desired effect, and a markedly diminished effect with continued use of the same amount of the substance. The 11th criteria is the withdrawal as manifested by either of the following: the characteristic withdrawal syndrome for that substance, the use of a closely related substance to relieve or avoid withdrawal syndromes. So, dear friends, let us hope that none of you happens to be in the mild, moderate, or severe category. What is drug use, misuse, and addiction? Drug use refers to any scope of use of drug like heroin, cocaine, tobacco, etc. Drug misuse is used to distinguish improper or unhealthy use from uses of a medication or prescribed or alcohol in moderation. This includes the repeated use of drugs to produce pleasure, alleviate stress, and or alter or avoid reality. It also includes using prescription drugs in ways other than prescribed or using someone else's prescription. Addiction refers to substance use disorders at the severe end of the spectrum and is characterized by a person's inability to control the impulse to use drugs even when there are negative consequences. These behavioral changes are also accompanied by changes in brain functions, especially in the brain's natural inhibition and reward centers. So I think it is it is clear what is meant by addiction. Then why the term misuse instead of abuse is being taken up now? The term misuse is roughly equivalent to the term abuse. Substance abuse is a diagnostic term that is increasingly avoided by professionals because it can be shaming and adds to the stigma that often keeps people from asking for help. Substance misuse suggests use that can cause harm to the user or their friends or family. What's the difference between physical dependence, tolerance, and addiction? Physical dependence can occur with the regular, daily or almost daily use of the substance, legal or illegal, when taken as prescribed. It occurs because the body naturally adapts to regular exposure to substances like caffeine or prescription drugs. When that substance is taken away, symptoms can emerge while the body readjusts to the loss of the substance. Physical dependence can lead to the craving of the drug to relieve the withdrawal symptoms. Tolerance is a need to take a higher dose of a drug to get the same effect. It often accompanies dependence, and it can be difficult to distinguish the two. Addiction is a chronic disorder characterized by drug seeking and use that is compulsive despite negative consequences. Then let me explain how the drugs work in the brain to produce pleasure. Nearly all addictive drugs directly or indirectly target the brain's reward system by flooding the circuit with dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter present in the regions of the brain that regulates movement, emotion, cognition, motivation, and reinforcement of rewarding behaviors. When activated at normal levels, this system rewards our natural behavior. Overstimulating the system with the drugs, however, produce effects which strongly reinforce the behavior of the drug use, teaching the person to repeat it. Is drug use or misuse a voluntary behavior? The initial decision to take drug is generally voluntary. However, with continued use, a person's ability to exert self-control can become seriously impaired. Brain damaging studies from people addicted to drugs show physical changes in the areas of the brain that are critical for judgment, decision-making, learning, memory, and behavioral control. Scientists believe that these changes alter the way the brain works and may help explain the compulsive and destructive behavior of a person who becomes addicted. Now, it's a question: can addiction be treated successfully? Yes, addiction is a treatable chronic disorder that can be managed successfully. Research shows that combining behavioral therapy with the medications, if available, is the best way to ensure success for most patients. The combination of medications and behavioral interventions to treat the substance use disorder is known as medication-assisted treatment. Treatment approaches must be tailored to address each patient's drug use patterns and the drug-related medical, psychiatric, environmental, and social problems. Now let us discuss about some of the commonly used substances or drugs available in the market in India at present. The first category is the synthetic cannabinoids, which are human-made, mind-altering. These are mind-altering chemicals that are either sprayed on dried shredded plant materials, so they can be smoked or sold as liquids to be vaporized and inhaled in e-cigarettes and other devices to produce a high. Recently, Government of India has banned e-cigarettes, sale of e-cigarettes in the country. These chemicals are called cannabinoids because they are related to chemicals found in the marijuana plant. Because of the similarity, synthetic cannabinoids are sometimes misleadingly called synthetic marijuana or fake weeds, and they are often marketed as safe, legal alternative to that drug, that is marijuana. In fact, they are not safe and may affect the brain more powerfully and differently than marijuana. Their actual effects can be unpredictable and in some cases severe or even life-threatening. I repeat, life-threatening. Synthetic cannabinoids are part of a group of drugs called new psychoactive substances. These are unregulated, mind-altering substances that have become recently available in the market and intended to produce the same effects as illegal drugs. Some of these substances may have been around for years but have re-entered the market in altered chemical forms or due to renewed popularity. People taken to the emergency room for treatment after using synthetic cannabinoids report rapid heart rate, vomiting, violent behavior, and suicidal thoughts. These drugs can also raise blood pressure and reduce blood supply to the heart, as well as cause kidney damage and seizures. Synthetic cannabinoids have high addictive potential and no medical benefit, so the government has made it illegal to sell, buy, or possess them. However, the manufacturers try to sidestep these laws by changing the chemical formulas in their mixtures. The next category is the prescription and over-the-counter medications. Some prescriptions and over-the-counter medications are increasingly being misused, used in ways other than intended or without a prescription. This practice can lead to addiction and in some cases overdosing. Among the most disturbing aspects of this emerging trend is its prevalence among teenagers and young adults, as well as a common misperception that because these are used medically or prescribed prescriptions, they are safe even when not used as intended. Commonly used classes of prescription drugs include opioid pain relievers, that is analgesics, stimulants, and central nervous system depressants like sedatives and tranquilizers. Then comes the opioids. Opioids are a class of drugs naturally found in the opium poppy plant. Some prescription opioids are made from plants directly, and others are made by scientists in labs using the same chemical structure. Opioids are often used as medicines because they contain chemicals that relax the body and can relieve pains, especially in palliative care, that is terminal ill patients. Prescription opioids are used modestly to treat moderate to severe pain. Though some opioids can be used to treat coughing and diarrhea, opioids can also make people feel very relaxed and high, which is why they are sometimes used for non-medical reasons. This can be dangerous because opioids can be highly addictive, and overdoses and death are common of this misuse. Heroin is one of the world's most dangerous opioids and is never used as a medicine in the country. Prescription opioids and heroin are chemically similar and can produce a similar high in some places. Heroin is a cheaper and easier to get substance than prescription opioids, so some people switch to using heroin instead of opioids. In short term, opioids can relieve pain and make people feel relaxed and happy, however, in the right quantity and the right dose. However, opioids can also cause drowsiness, confusion, nausea, constipation, euphoria, and slowed breathing. Slowed breathing can cause hypoxia, a condition that results when too little oxygen reaches the brain. Hypoxia can have short and long-term psychological and neurological effects, including coma, permanent brain damage, or death, resulting in increasingly high overdose deaths. Researchers are also investigating the long-term effects of opioid addiction in the brain, including whether damage can be reversed. Now comes the stimulants, such as methylphenidate. You might have heard it. It is available in the medical shops. It's very restricted. It is used commonly prescribed for attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So it is commonly known as ADHD, and narcolepsy, that is uncontrollable episodes of deep sleep. So this is a very effective medicine and is prescribed by psychiatrists. This type of drugs increases alertness, attention, and energy. Stimulants enhance the effect of certain neurotransmitters in the brain, such as norepinephrine and dopamine. Dopamine affects feeling of pleasure. Norepinephrine affects blood vessels, blood pressure, and heart rate, blood sugar, and breathing. People who uses prescription of stimulant drugs report feeling a rush, that is euphoria, along with increased blood pressure and heart rate. Increased breathing, decreased blood flow, increased blood sugar, opened up breathing passages, etc. At high doses, prescription stimulants can lead to dangerously high body temperatures, irregular heartbeat, heart failure, and seizures. Repeated misuse of prescription stimulants, even within a short period, can cause psychosis, anger, or paranoia. So be careful. Then comes the CNS depressants. These are medicines that include sedatives, tranquilizers, and hypnotics. They are usually prescribed to treat anxiety, panic, acute stress reactions, and sleep disorders. Sedatives primarily include barbiturates, example phenobarbital, but also includes sleep medications such as diazepams, etc. Tranquilizers primarily include the benzodiazepams such as Valium and such brands, but also include muscle relaxants and other anti-anxiety medications. There are a lot available in the medical shops. These medications slow brain activity, which can cause drowsiness, slurred speech, poor concentration, confusion, dizziness, problems, and slowed breathing, especially when misused. And the next category is the OTC products, that is over-the-counter medicines that are commonly misused. One example is dextromethorphan, a cough suppressant, and loperamide, which is an anti-diarrheal. Products containing dextromethorphan can be sold as cough syrups, gel capsules, and pills that can look like candies. They are often misused by young people who refer to the practice as robot tripping or skittling. There's a famous brand of this dextromethorphan, that is a Passport 1. The original company manufacturers retained the brand name and changed the chemical, but people still believing that this medicine is containing dextromethorphan, and is still misusing the drug unknowingly that it is containing this dextromethorphan. So still there is a misuse, even though the company has changed the chemical content of the product. Both the dextromethorphan and the loperamide are opioids, does not have effects on pain reduction or addiction, and does not act on the opioid receptors. However, when taken in large doses, these causes a depressant and hallucinogenic effect. Short-term effects of dextromethorphan misuse can range from mild stimulation to alcohol or marijuana-like intoxication. Loperamide does not enter the brain, but when taken in large doses and combined with other substances, it may cause the drug to act in a similar way to other opioids. Loperamide misuse can cause euphoria similar to other opioids, or lessen cravings and withdrawal symptoms, but other effects have not been well studied and reported or mixed. Next, most commonly used substance is alcohol. As you know, alcohol consumption can cause damage to the brain and most body organs, including the heart, liver, and the pancreas. It also increases the risk of some cancers, weakens the immune system, puts fetal development at risk, and it causes deadly vehicle crashes. Areas of the brain that are especially vulnerable to alcohol-related damage include cerebral cortex, cerebellum, etc. Then comes the most related one, the anabolic steroids. The anabolic steroids are synthetic variations of the male sex hormone testosterone. The proper term for this compound is anabolic androgenic steroids. Anabolic refers to muscle building, and androgenic refers to increased male sexual characteristics. Steroids can be prescribed for delayed puberty and diseases that cause muscle loss. However, some athletes and bodybuilders misuse these drugs in attempts to improve athletic performance or physical appearance. Recently, we in the department has conducted some raids in the gymnasiums run by private parties in Kerala, and we have seized a large quantity of these types of anabolic steroids. So, young people who are attending this gymnasium, please be careful to not to get into this type of addictions. Anabolic steroids work very differently from other addictive drugs, and they do not have the same short-term effects on the brain. However, long-term steroid use can affect some of the same brain pathways and chemicals, including dopamine and serotonin and opioid systems that are affected by other drugs. This may result in a significant impact on the mood and behavior. Anabolic steroid misuse can lead to mental problems like paranoid, jealousy, extreme irritability, delusions, impaired judgment, and extreme mood swings. Other health effects include severe body swelling and changes in sex characteristics, such as shrinking of testicles in men and facial hair growth in women. Some serious consequences of steroid misuse can include heart disease, liver damage, and kidney problems or failure. The next most abused substance is cocaine. Cocaine is powerfully addictive stimulant. It's an addictive stimulant drug made from the leaves of coca plant. Cocaine increases the level of dopamine in brain circuits, controlling pressures and movement, leading to health effects like extreme happiness and energy, mental alertness, hypersensitivity to sight, sound and touch, irritability, and paranoia. Some people find that cocaine helps them perform simple physical and mental tasks more quickly, although others experience the opposite effect. Large amount of cocaine will lead to bizarre, unpredictable, and violent behavior. People who use cocaine often take it in binges, taking that repeatedly within a short time at increasingly higher doses to maintain their high peak. Cocaine use can lead to severe medical consequences related to the heart and respiratory nervous and digestive systems. And there is another group of drug known as fentanyl. It's a very powerful synthetic opioid that is similar to morphine, but is 50 to 100 times more potent, like morphine. It is a common prescription drug, especially for the post-surgery cases, and used to treat patients with severe pain or to manage pain after surgery. Synthetic opioids, including fentanyl, are now the most common drug involved in drug overdose deaths in the country. Some drug dealers are mixing fentanyl with other drugs such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine. This is because it takes very little to produce a high with the fentanyl, making it a cheaper option. This is especially risky when people taking drugs don't realize they might contain fentanyl as a cheap but dangerous additive. They may be taking stronger opioids than their bodies are used to and can be more likely to overdose, leading to death. Then there is hallucinogens, a class of drugs called as hallucinogens. Hallucinogens are a class of drugs that cause hallucinations, that is, sensations and images that seem real, though they are not real. People have used hallucinogens for centuries, mostly for religious rituals. Hallucinations can be found in some plants and mushrooms or can be human-made. They are commonly divided into two broad categories: classic hallucinogens and dissociative drugs. Research suggests that hallucinogens work at least partially by temporarily disrupting communication between brain chemical systems throughout the brain and spinal cord. The effects of hallucinogens are highly variable and unreliable, producing different effects in different people at different times. This is mainly due to differences in the amounts and the chemistries of active compounds within the drug. Because of their unpredictable nature, the use of hallucinogens can be particularly dangerous. Classic hallucinogens include dimethyltryptamine, that is commonly DMT, which is a powerful chemical found in some Amazonian plants. It is also synthetically manufactured. Then the LSD, that is a D-lysergic acid diethylamide, one of the most powerful mood-changing chemicals. It is made from lysergic acid. It is found in a fungus that grows on the rice and other grains. Then there is the peyote, which is mescaline. It's a small spineless acid as its main with the mescaline as its main ingredient. This can also be made synthetically. Then comes phosphoryl oxy and dimethyltryptamine. That is psilocybin, comes from certain types of mushrooms found in the tropical and subtropical regions of South America, Mexico, and the United States. Dissociative drugs cause people to feel out of control or disconnected from their body and environment. Common examples including the following drugs. The first is ketamine. This is also a very good medicine used in the treatment of for post-operative surgeries as an anesthetic, and both in humans and animals. Ketamine is odorless and tasteless and has amnesia-inducing properties. It is sometimes added to drinks to facilitate sexual assault. This is a very commonly misused drug nowadays, and now this medicine. So these medicines are not permitted in the pharmacies or medical shops nowadays. It's only available in the hospitals, and we are preventing the misuse to a very great extent. It's not. It is. We make it sure that it does not reach the youngsters in any way, in any sort of way. Then comes fencyclidine, or PCP, which is developed in 1950s as a general anesthetic for surgery. It is no longer used for this purpose due to serious side effects, including out of control behaviors. So this is not used nowadays. Then another dissociative drug is Salvia divinorum. It's a plant common in southern Mexico and Central and South America. The next substance abuse drug is heroin. It's an opioid drug made from morphine, a natural substance taken from the seed pod of the various opium poppy plants. Heroin enters the brain rapidly and binds to opioid receptors on cells located in many areas, especially those involved in feelings of pain and pleasure, and in controlling heart rate, sleeping, and breathing. It produces euphoria and feelings of relaxation. It can also slow breathing and can increase the risk of serious infectious diseases, especially when injected with a needle. Regular heroin use changes brain functioning, causing tolerance and dependence. Prescription opioid pain medicines have effects similar to heroin. Research suggests that misuse of these drugs may open the door to heroin use. Nearly 80% of teenagers using heroin reported misusing prescription opioids prior to using heroin. However, while prescription opioids misuse is a risk factor for starting heroin use, only a small fraction of people who misuse opioid painkillers switch to heroin. The next group is inhalants. Inhalants are various products easily brought and found in the home and workplace, such as spray paints, markers, glues, and cleaning fluids, and includes solvents, aerosol sprays, gases, and nitrates. Inhalants contain dangerous substances that have mind-altering properties when inhaled. People don't typically think of these products as drug because they are not intended for getting high kick, but some people use them for that purpose. Although other substances that are misused can be inhaled, inhalants are substances that people typically take only by inhaling. Inhalants are extremely toxic and can damage the heart, kidney, lungs, and brain. Even a healthy person sniffing these products can cause the heart to stop within minutes and may lead to death. Then comes MDMA, that is MDMA. It's commonly known. It's a synthetic drug that alters mood and perception. It is chemically similar to both stimulants and hallucinogens, producing feelings of increased energy, pleasure, emotional warmth, and distorted sensory and time perception. High doses of MDMA can affect the body's ability to regulate temperature. This can lead to a spike in body temperature that can occasionally result in liver, kidney, or heart failure, or even death. In addition, because MDMA can promote trust and closeness, its use may encourage unsafe sexual behavior. This increases people's risk of contracting or transmitting sexually transmitted diseases like AIDS, then hepatitis, etc. MDMA was initially popular in the clubs and at dance parties, with the elevated heat in the club environment contributing to reported deaths. Elevated heat in the club environment contributing to reported deaths. The drug is now also used by a broader range of people who more commonly call the drug excessive drug. Then there's another group of drug known as rohypnol, like ketamine, and have come to be known as date rape drugs because they can cause someone to lose their memory of an assault. Rohypnol and can be easily added to beverages and ingested unknowingly. These drugs can also cause someone to lose consciousness. Whereas people forget all the things that has happened during the ingestion. Then, so these are the various types of drugs. So, my dear students, let me conclude that apart from the momentary pleasure these drugs reward us, it is a painful fact that it has destroyed everyone who has used it and become addicted. To sum it up, these substances, even though useful for medical purposes, not at all benefited the individual misusing it. I therefore request you to take a firm decision to say no to drugs. Let us together break the chain of addiction and dependence and build a bright future for ourselves and our future generation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is a small discussion time. If you have any doubts or questions regarding this topic, you can ask, you can type in the chat box. Sir, there are some questions from students. Can I ask it?
You can ask.
Sir, how does narcotics acts immediately in the body as we have seen in the sport person?
These narcotics, there are opioid receptors in the body, in the various parts of the body. This narcotic drugs gets binded to the opioids and is creating and is giving all the effects. The effect, the control of the brain is taken over. It is lost, and then this type of euphoric effects are highlighted.
Okay, sir. There are one more question. We had heard about narcotics helps to reduce the use of cigarettes. So does the drugs used in it are for reducing smoking consumption, or it's like a curative measure or like a medicine?
Say, recently the government of India has permitted the sale. Previously, the sale of narcotics required a drug license for its sale and stocking and sale. But government of India, for some reason or other, has now relaxed the norms and permitted the sale of drugs of this product from any shop without a license. Maybe it is due to the reason that it is safe. So up to a particular dose, it can be sold. So it is not an issue now.
Okay, sir. Okay. We want to express our heartfelt gratitude to Sri KJ John for this inspirational talk on the most relevant topic of the day. Thank you, sir. At last but not the least, I invite Selin Sunny, the student coordinator of Anti-Narcotic Cell, St.Thomas College Autonomous Thrissur, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, all. Share drug facts to save lives is the theme of 2021 International Day against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, aimed to combat misinformation and to encourage exchange of drug facts. This day is utilized to instill a feeling of responsibility in individuals all over the world, particularly in children and teens. On this day, this valuable session taken by Sri KJ John, the drugs controller of Kerala, is a great opportunity and blessing for us. So, on the behalf of St. Thomas College Thrissur and the Anti-Narcotic Cell, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Sri KJ John sir for this valuable session. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to thank our beloved Principal in Charge, Reverend Dr. Martin K.A., for the presidential address and the wholehearted support for this program. Thank you, Father. Next, I would like to thank the program coordinator, Dr. VIMALA Jose, and the entire anti-narcotic cell team of St. Thomas College for arranging and coordinating this great awareness program. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you to the whole team. At last, I would like to thank everyone who have participated in this session. Thank you so much for making this a great success. Thank you.
So, we are winding up this program by reminding you the favorite quote: say yes to life and say no to drugs. Thank you all. Thank you. Have a nice day.